What's up, guys? This is a video about the records they refused to sell me. And I'm going to actually show you those records, but this is a story of what I call the vinyl tease. Have you ever encountered a vinyl tease? I'm talking about record stores, okay? Let me give you an analogy, what I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys have a Costco in your area or a Trader Joe's, any great grocery store that lets you try out stuff. You know, there's a lady behind the table and she says, "Hey sir, would you like to try out our, salted caramel brownie bits? They're delicious." And you grab one, you take a bite. "Oh wow, this is awesome. I love this. How much are they?" She's like, I don't know how much they are." And you say, "Well, what aisle can I find them on? Where are they? I want to get some." She's like, "Sir, we don't sell these here." It's okay. What kind of mind freak is this? So record stores do the same thing all the time, and I find it annoying. And let me give you some concrete examples, okay? And I'm going to show you the records. They refuse to sell them to you. How did you get the records? Well, just listen to the story, okay? We'll get there. So I'm in Santa Barbara, California, at a hipster, cool little record store with my whole family on vacation. And on the sound system comes this awesome sounding, soulful tune. It's actually a soul jazzy version of California Dreamin', Mamas and Papa's song, one of the, coolest tunes of the 60s. And it's all instrumental. It's got a jazzy flute and all kinds of cool instrumentation. My whole family, we're digging this. I go up to the guy and like, "Oh, what record is this?" And he shows me the record, and I'll show it to you. More information to come. He shows me the record. I'm like, "Yeah, this is great. How much is it?" He says, "It's not for sale." What do you mean it's not for sale? "That's my personal copy. It's worth $200 and it's not for sale." Okay, well, why are you teasing me? Why are you giving me the vinyl tease? Okay. A lot of record store owners that I meet are they barely understand what it means to be a business person, to be honest. So many record stores have gone out of business because of a lot of poor policies, poor economics practiced by record store owners. I mean, okay, capitalism's not cool, but like the point of a record store to me is to go in and discover new music. Hey, thank you, dude. You helped me discover new music. And now that I've discovered it, I want it. I have my money out. I came to a store to buy the record. And he's like, "Yeah, it's not for sale." He didn't say, "I'll order it for you. I'll have it shipped to you in a couple days." He just threw his hands up and went about his business. So I went and bought it online. I did a rant about this in one of my videos about, 10 things I hate about record stores or whatever. But here I'm going to show you the actual records. So let's get back into this one. I wouldn't have heard of this record if it wasn't for this nice record store owner who played the record. Baby Huey, the living legend. Baby Huey was an early pioneer in sort of the funky, soulful, jazzy, put all those genres together. What does it make? I don't know. But he worked with people like Curtis Mayfield and Donny Hathaway, and he had a couple of bands, and he was just really starting to gain momentum. But he was obviously extremely morbidly obese and a glandular condition, supposedly. And then he got into drugs, and he died, unfortunately, at the age of 26. Tragically, he never put out any albums during his lifetime. So Curtis Mayfield put this together posthumously from existing tapes and tracks and stuff. So thank you, record store guy in Santa Barbara, for turning me on to this. But aren't you there to make money? Okay. If you had 3 or 4 copies of the reissue on hand, you could sell 2 copies a week if you wanted to. 5 copies a month. All right. I worked in record stores, 3 different record stores when I was in high school and college, and we knew for a fact there were some records that sold as soon as you put them on the turntable, and that was why we're in business. That's why we all had our jobs, because we sold records, right? Now, you didn't play stuff like, okay, Michael Jackson. Everybody knows Michael Jackson. They're not discovering Michael Jackson. I was in the store when Thriller was out. It was a big, 1983, 84, whatever. Sold bazillion copies. You didn't need to play that on the turntable in the store because everybody heard that on the radio and they came in clamoring for it. But while they're there, you throw on something like this, and you know, you could sell a few copies. And there are whole sort of genres and records that record stores know they can sell as soon as they put it on the turntable. So why not do that? Why are you forcing me onto the internet, and you're also harming my relationship with you, because I want to like know that you're a cool guy that helps me discover music, so I can walk away with it, the record, you know? People are very, what's the word? Whimsical? That's not the word. You know that word I'm talking about. We'll come back to it. People change their minds a lot. Hey, I'm ready to buy this record now. If you offer to order it for me, I might not be interested in a week, or I might not buy it on the internet. So let's look at some more records that this has occurred with. So glad I have this record. I had to wait weeks to get it because, you know, I didn't come home from vacation and order it right away. It's like, honey, what was that record we were going to order? You know, it probably took 2 months before it ended up in my collection. Let's do another one, a record store here in Los Angeles. Now, unfortunately, I only have the CD, but record store here in Los Angeles, crowded day, the day after Black Friday, Saturday. Store is absolutely packed with customers who have money and are ready to buy. And I hear this, again, jazz. These are jazz records, guys, sorry. I hear this jazz. It sounds like it's probably from the 50s or early 60s. You know, a lot of, you know, big instrumentation, not a small chamber group, but a larger group of maybe 8 or 10 people. But it's got a really cool sort of beat poetry underneath it. You know, a guy laying down some poetry. And I don't know anything about poetry, but, you know, anyway, I asked the proprietor, what is this record? It sounds great. He pulls out a disc, pulls out this record, which is Charles Mingus. I'll tell you more about it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. What's that all about? Modern Jazz Symposium of Music and Poetry with Charles Mingus. It's actually originally on the Bethlehem label. I'm like, wow, I never heard, okay. Mingus has done some other things with poetry and spoken word, but this, you could tell, was earlier on in his career. I dug it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. How much is it? It's not for sale. It's my personal copy. It's like, oh man, here we go again. So I went out and purchased the record eventually. Well, it took me a while, okay. It's hard to find on LP. It's really very hard to find on LP. First of all, the cover is terrible. I thought this was like an army helmet, like from Full Metal Jacket. It's actually a metal sphere, and this is everything reflected. What is all that junk? I can't even tell what it is. Bits of rocks reflecting into the bottom of the sphere. So it's, you know, it's Bethlehem. It's not a great, it's not a great copy of the cover, and the cover was not a good design in the first place. The subtitle says, a demonstration and discussion of the modern jazz idiom, its place and its purpose with the great names in jazz. So back then, you know, this was the mid-50s. This was before Mingus came out. This is before most people probably knew who Charles Mingus was. And again, I can't read all of this cover liner art because it's too small. Let's see. Oh, here's the musicians, most of which I haven't heard of. Horace Parlin on piano, we've heard of. And who's reading the poetry? Oh, Nat Hentoff does some liner notes, but those are probably after the fact. I don't know. And this, okay, Bethlehem Jazz Series Classic, Jazz Society. This artwork is from the re-release, you know, kind of cheesy artwork from the re-release. I think there is, well, I know there's a re-release of this. It's either coming out or has recently come out, a 2-disc set, because there's outtakes. So this has some alternate takes and unreleased stuff to fill up, I don't know how many minutes, not long. It's probably barely 40 minutes, even with the outtakes. I don't know. There is a release of this coming out on LP, but there it is. I got it again from the guy who didn't want to sell it. But what troubles me is the record store owners and employees who are there to really entertain themselves, okay? Do they care about you, the customer? Or are they just there to like, hey, I got a job at a record store. I can listen to whatever I want all day long. Who cares if the customers buy, don't buy, come back, don't come back? You know, how How is that a way to run a record store? Okay, same store. I don't know, months later, I once again heard some amazing jazz that I didn't recognize. I asked the proprietor who it was. He's a nice guy. He's a great guy. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but so a lot of you know this store. Small store, crowded, full of stuff. You can't even move in this store. The owner, older guy, even older than me, he's more than happy to sit and chat with you about jazz. Nice guy, really, really nice guy. But here's the record that came on, and I'm like, what is that? I'm not familiar with that record. Oh yeah, a classic, one of the greatest all-time classics of all time. Does that make sense? This is Alice Coltrane with Pharoah Sanders and Joe Henderson, two amazing sax players, doing Ptah the El Daoud. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Ptah, and that is like the ancient Egyptian god that created the universe. And, you know, Alice Coltrane is very into spiritual and ancient culture and religion and all this stuff, you know, after Coltrane died. Well, even while Coltrane was alive. So, yeah, again, not for sale. Okay, all right, well, you turned me on to a new record. I can't buy it. But, and at this time, and I got to say this for both of these two records, these records were hard to find, okay? So I can't necessarily blame him for not having it in stock when it's impossible to get in stock. This was available through, in CD form for a while. It just came out in the last, you know, maybe a year or so ago. What year does it say on here? 2022 UMG Impulse. So it is available on vinyl now, but I can't fault them for not having it because they really were hard to find. But I can fault them for playing a record that you can't sell when we have tons of records in your store that ain't selling, been sitting there for years, you know. Get people excited about coming to your store and discovering new stuff and buying it and going on your merry way. And that makes me want to come back to the store. Hey, remember I bought this at your store and you turned me on to it? You know, isn't that cool? I'm going to come back to your store because hopefully you do that again. Oh, I bought it online. Bought it on the evil UMG website, you know, annoying website. So, okay, Alice Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders, Joe Henderson, Ron Carter, Ben Riley, recorded 1970. There's only 4 songs on here, and I think she plays piano on one side and harp on the other side. And, you know, she's a great piano player. We all think of her as a harpist, but an awesome piano player as well. There's Ron Carter, there's Alice. This is some kind of a beetle scarab, very big in Egyptian iconography. I forgot to show you, I forgot to go deeper on Baby Huey, okay? Did I tell you he died in about 1970 at the age of 26? Because there's some cool, sad newspaper clippings on the inside, like Janice, Jimmy, Baby Huey. Did they all die in 1970? What's going on there? What conspiracy is leading to the death of all of our rock stars? He didn't make it to the 27 club. He was only in the 26th club. Baby Huey, 3rd rock star to die in a short period of time. Did I mention that this is a compilation? I forgot what I told you guys. Did I mention this was a compilation put together posthumously by Curtis Mayfield? I think I mentioned that. I certainly thought of it. So anyway, produced by Curtis Mayfield. California Dreamin' is the 3rd song on side 2. Curtis Mayfield tunes, 1, 2, 3. Curtis Mayfield tunes, a Sam Cooke tune. A Change Is Gonna Come. Some vocals, some non-vocals, but he remains a living legend, or at least he was a living legend. His music has been sampled by zillions of artists into the hip-hop world, so very well respected amongst the insiders of hip-hop and the guys who run the studios and DJs, but middle-aged, middle-class Jewish white guy. When would I have heard of Curtis Mayfield? Thank you, record store guy, for turning me on. So that's a little bit of the story of the Vinyl Tease the records they refused to sell to me, well, they didn't have them in stock to sell to me, but they teased me with them, and then they made me go buy it elsewhere. And right there's, you know, not quite $100 worth of money I spent online instead of buying it in your store. Yeah, I went and bought the CD of Alice Coltrane, figuring it would never come out, and then it came out like a year later, so I spent money on the CD and the LP. And I would love to get a copy of the Charles Mingus on the LP. Okay, guys, that's my rant on the vinyl teases out there, the stores that tease you. They let you hear it, they let you touch it, they let you grab it and get a hold of it, but they don't let you have it. Okay? And that is the tease, the vinyl teases out there. Let me know if this has ever happened to you guys, what we can do to stamp out vinyl teasery in our lifetime. Thank you for watching.